and welcome to the Sanctuary, a safe space to speak from the heart. I'm your host, Israel, and my guest today is now two-time JUNO nominated and JUNO winner, Steve Holt. Thanks for coming to the podcast today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate this. When I had the opportunity to talk to you, I was like, my very first question is going to be, how does it feel having this huge gap between nominations?
Well, I mean, it's a long time between nominations. It's actually 43 years from the first one, which was in 1983, till this one. But it's also like for the last 20 plus years, I didn't make an album. I was playing live. I was doing production. I was doing session work. I was doing lots of music and live performances, but no record, no album. So having done this record, and we put our heart and soul into it, obviously, and getting the nomination is really huge for us.
Why did you decide to, I mean, you've done all these things in between in that time, but why did you decide to work and release this album? Work on and
Well,
release this album?
well, first of all, I had a great band, and we had been playing together for some time, the quintet. Um, and, they're all individually great players, but together we were really starting to, put out some music on stage that really was locked in. The second thing was it had been so long, and I thought, I'm not getting any younger. Either I'm going to put out a record like very soon or now, or I'll be putting it out from the old people's home. So, it was really just about it's time. Let's do it.
I love the title of the record, Impact.
Yep.
Why that title? Any particular reasons behind it?
Well, I did want to encapsulate the entire album and the band as being something that's impactful, that will really hit you, that will really have an impact. It's not something that's going to creep up on you. It should just announce itself. We are here, and we're having a blast. And so yeah, Impact just seemed like the right name.
No, I love it. Um, when I find a group, any group, especially a band, play together for so long, I'm envious. And I always ask, what is how do you keep that longevity and still work together and still make it work and come up with a record like Impact?
That's a very good question. I mean, all of the guys in the band, they're all what you would call first call jazz players in Toronto. So they're working all the time. They're really busy. They, in order to get all of them, including myself, I'm a lot more flexible. I don't work like nearly as much as they do. But in order to get everybody to say yes to a date, any date, for a gig, it's not easy because usually everybody can make it except one person. So then you have to start again. Having said that, we have every month for the next I don't know 6 months we have a concert or a club date coming up with that band all locked in. So it feels great, and it's always the same guys, and we're always, we're really working on the material. And of course, these days we just play what's on the album.
Mm,
We play all those
mm.
tunes that are on the album.
Let's get into process. So what was the process of making Impact?
Well, that's an interesting question because what I ended up doing is putting myself under a lot of pressure.
Oh,
Because what I did was I said, okay, we're going to do this. I got the guys to agree to a certain series of dates, which was about a year ago, last March, and and then I booked the studio, and that was done kind of, I guess it was late fall of 2024, and then it's like, okay, I've got it all booked. I better start writing some material because I hadn't written the stuff. I had
oh
not
my God.
composed. I had one really, I had one new tune. I had one new tune, which is Impact, the tune
Steve,
Impact.
you're a madman.
Oh, no kidding, no kidding. So I had written one tune for the album, which is Impact, and that's all I had. And I had, some other stuff that I had pre-recorded on other albums that I was going to use, but I had to really get busy and compose. And composing is not something you can just snap your fingers and say, okay, I'm going to pump out. It's not like a factory where you turn a machine on. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sitting down at the piano, I'm scratching my head. I'm going, oh, okay, what do we? It's a blank sheet of paper,
Yeah.
you know. So that was a lot of
Yeah.
pressure to get the tunes written and arranged for the band, and then rehearse, get everybody together and run the tunes down, make some changes. It was very, and it happened so fast. Like we got in the
Mm,
studio finally, we did the record. I think it was March 4th and 5th, and it
mhm.
was released April 25th. We had CDs in our hand a month later. It was insane.
Gosh, damn.
Like no
How
one
do you
does it.
maintain, I guess, that, like, intensity, really? Because, like, I mean, sure, it's you have this thing, you have this stuff, you have this small window, but you have to maintain the intensity for that period, creating this whole record. How do you keep that going?
I don't think I don't think it's voluntary. It just happens because there's a deadline. You're going in the studio, that date is coming. You can't change it, it's booked. Everybody's booked. So it's just this insane amount of, oh my God, pressure. I got to get down in front of the piano. The way I write is I'm sort of a little old fashioned is I use a pencil and an eraser and some music paper and a piano and back and forth erasing this, changing this, and then when I have enough to sort of start with, then I copy it into the software, which in this case is Sibelius, and that point, and I do that one note at a time as well. I don't play
Oh
it
my
in. I just
god.
like, okay, I'm going to add these notes. I want to hear them, and so it's a very long, arduous process. Once it's in Sibelius, then I work on the final changes and the arrangements, like what are the harmonies for the two horns? What rhythmic figures are we going to incorporate? I play them
Mm,
back 50,000 times. It's a very long process.
mm, yeah, no, I can't even imagine it. But um, do you think that pressure and that time crunch led to Impact turning out the way it did?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I need deadlines. I'm not the kind of person that can just, in the old days when I was a younger kid and I was, just starting out or early career, I would be
Mm,
downstairs practicing on the piano between 6 and 9 hours a day. No problem.
mm,
I'd get up in the morning, I'd practice, I'd break for lunch, I'd practice, I'd go to the bathroom, I'd practice, and then I went to the gig. Nowadays, it's really hard to practice if I don't have a deadline of some kind, a gig coming up, or obviously recording date. So now I have gigs coming up all the time, and I got to do it, right.
mm,
I need a certain amount of pressure in order to get things done. I just don't sit down there and start practicing for nothing.
mm, Let's talk about the title track, Impact. I mean, you said it's one of the songs you had kind of early on making this record. What do you love about that song, and how did you decide, okay, that's what the title track for the album is gonna be?
Titles are funny things in jazz. Like, sometimes people, you write a tune and then you just come up with some random title. You attach it to the tune, and it has nothing to do with anything really, except maybe some feeling that you had that no one else really understands.
Mhm,
Impact was a little different in that it was a title all along. As I started to write the tune, create the initial beginning of the theme, the head, um, I knew this is Impact. This is the title. And the title and the creation of the tune kind of grew together. And that tune, as I said, it was the first one for the quintet, and we performed that at the Port Hope Jazz Festival in the summer of 2024. That was the premiere of that tune.
Mm.
And it was so exciting because I can't tell you, like, up until the moment we played it, it's just in my head. It's all in my head. I can hear it, but it's in my head. And even at the rehearsal, I mean, we're going through it, stopping and starting. We're in someone's house rehearsing. We got to the stage, the charts come out. These guys are so incredibly professional. Like, when the moment arrives, they're just like, they play it like we've been playing it for 20 years. And the first part of that head just jumps out at you, da-da. And I was like, I was playing and I was like, I almost turned around and looked at everybody like, my God, that sounds good.
Wow. Again, congrats on this year's
Thank you.
nomination for Jazz Album of the Year. How does it feel?
That feels amazing. I'll tell you, it feels amazing. I mean, you always kind of hope, but it's been so long. Does anybody even remember me? Kind of thing. On that scene, on the JUNO scene, and then I was actually in Japan when the news came out, and it's middle of the night over there when it's morning here. So when the JUNO nominations were announced, I was asleep. It was 1 o'clock in the morning in Japan. And I literally got up to pee. And on my way back to bed, I went, it's probably out. Maybe I'll take a look. And I scrolled down the phone. I was like, I just flipped out. It was like absolutely, water on parched earth is what that was.
Mm, mm, mm. Congrats again. Will you be performing at this year's Junos in Hamilton?
No, no, we don't. The
Okay.
Junos for me is that, now keep in mind that this is, in 1983, I did not attend the award ceremony when I was nominated because I was traveling. I was in India. It's a long way to
Oh.
come. And so I didn't get to go. This
Mm,
time, I'm definitely, it's only Hamilton is not far. I can
mm.
drive there, right on. And so, yeah, definitely going. And I'm going to participate in all the events.
Oh
Looking
my
forward
god.
to it.
Yeah, yeah. When I found out these yes, Junos is gonna be in Hamilton. I mean Halifax, it was in Halifax a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
So I was like, okay, like, oh, I'm lucky enough to have a friend in Hamilton and I'll most likely be there. But
cool.
I'm loving this chat. I'm loving to get to learn about your process and impact and just, talking to two-time nominee for the Junos is just a wonderful pleasure. But as a musician, why do you still do it?
Well, that's funny. I don't know. I mean, why do I still do it? That's sort of like saying, why do you still, I don't know, get up and eat breakfast and go for a walk? It's like, it's just part of life. I started playing music, you know, I was 4 years old. I have pictures of myself at the piano at 4. I don't know anything else,
Mm,
when other kids were playing football and hockey, I was playing piano. When other kids were whatever, going to camp, I was playing piano. All I did as a kid growing up was playing piano. I don't know anything else.
mm, mm, mm. It's great to find something you passion and love, and also to get this sort of recognition from your peers is pretty freaking awesome. So glad you say you felt great about it, because yeah, that recognition is great. Whatever the outcome on the day of, you've done it twice now, and such a huge gap. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I still can't get over that. It's like, wow, wow, wow,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. It's like the
What's
beginning at the beginning of my career, and I guess you would say towards the end of my career. I mean, I'm 71 years old now, right? So it's
mm,
like it's kind of like there's signposts of, of my life, the beginning and the end. Not that I'm at the end
um,
of my life completely, but it's
yeah.
definitely I'm not a spring chicken anymore.
You're still doing what you love. You're still doing what you've done all your life. So
Yeah.
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 I would say though, now that Impact is out in the world, you have this series of shows planned. Are there any other records in Steve?
I think so. I would like to do another one, and I'd like to do another one with this band. Um, but I would like to let Impact run a little of its course first. I don't want to like jump in and have another one, a year later. Let Impact sift through the universe for a little while, and then, yeah, definitely will get down to another record.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Steve, for the time. I really, really appreciate it. And congrats again on your nomination for the
Thank
JUNOs this
you.
year.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure chatting with you. Thanks again.